Okay, let's see if this works. Turns out, despite charging my batteries all fucking day, my fucking camera ran out in like 15 and a half minutes. So now you're on my iPhone recording via YouTube on my fucking sewing machine, which is what this is. But you know what? I'm too angry to care. And I can't go to Walmart to get more batteries. This camera didn't last as long as my fucking vibrator batteries in their triple A's, bitch. Not that I'm, like, really mad about it now, but... Anyway, so I'm going to be doing the ruffle, which I will seal one end first, just doing sort of a waving back and forth thing. But on to Bridezilla stories, and hopefully this fucking records. But like I was saying, so I did explain it like twice already trying to film it, but basically, one of the things I do want to say about Bridezillas is like, everyone loves them, you know, like there's even a show, isn't there, Bridezilla? But admittedly, 99% of the brides that I encounter, because I do a lot more bridal than special effects, like, you know, for every, I think that's probably Brittany, but, voiping me in the background, but for every bride, you know, Bridezilla that's shitty, there were like 100 good brides, and I totally recognize that a huge portion of brides are just stressed out. Again, like with, you know, acting, you learn to tell who's a dink who wants attention and who's somebody who really likes the job. You can kind of tell. There's a lot of brides who are genuinely stressed because, you know, you got your friends breathing down your back and it's a big day, and you got your mom being a bitch and probably your partner's mom being a bitch, and like, you know, as much as I really want to be nice to mothers and mother-in-laws here, y'all are the fucking worst. Categorically, the fucking worst. Ow. And just prick myself. Ouch. But, you know, like, the most cause of tears on this, and I hope this doesn't bleed too much. Got fucking white fabric. The last thing I need is to be bleeding on it. If you hear me keep going, for the record, it's just I'm asthmatic and not doing so hot ever, so just huffing. But, yeah, like I said, the number one cause of tears on a wedding day is always mother-in-laws or mothers, and just fucking stop. But, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, you know, so, like, I recognize that most brides are just stressed out. Like, I'm not gonna give too many people attitude, and again, you know, like, everyone who's ever been stressed out and, like, legitimately stressed out has called me afterwards, or immediately in the moment, they'll sort of be, like, they'll snippy, and they'll immediately be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, which, like, for the record, like, y'all brides who are nervous about that, makeup artists are never making fun of you. The ones who are making fun of are the crazies. Now, I have a million stories, because I've been a makeup artist since about 2011, 2012, so, like, a few years. And, or no, maybe 2010, 2011, because I was already doing bridal makeup when I was in school. But, yeah, so, it's been a while. And honestly, again, like, most of the brides I get who are terrible are just stressed out, and they straight up, like, there's one of them who sort of, like, she was kind of crappy on her wedding day, and she was super stressed out. She was one of my earliest brides. Like, I think I'd done 4 weddings before her. And before I did that, you know, I sort of came away from that, like, wow, my first Bridezilla. And I think it was 2 days after the wedding, she called me and apologized profusely, and she was super, I've never acted like this. This wedding didn't go the way I want. You know, my mom got involved and she kind of railroaded me, and I'd like to say sorry. And she actually, even though she'd already tipped me, she tipped me another, like, $300. And it was, you know, like, she didn't have to do that. Like, just the apology would have been enough. But she was so sweet and genuinely such a lovely person. And honestly, I remember her mother, so, like, I don't blame her for being that shitty. If my mom did that on my wedding day, I'd fucking stab her. Like, her mom was just loud and overbearing and nothing was right. And, oh, but you could have been skinny or you could have had different makeup, Like, fuck you, bitch. Like, she wasn't even my mom and I was getting the urge to slam a door and scream at her, but, like, that's what it is for most of them. And most of them, again, they're really cool about being like, I'm so sorry, this isn't me, I really fucked up. And I respect that. Like, if you're shitty at the moment and you apologize afterwards, totally fine. If you're shitty and just ride it out, fuck you. But, one of the worst ones, too, is, again, it's actually, like, brides are actually, in general, really cool. The worst ones are mothers. Mother-in-laws are actually not as bad as mother of the brides, because, a lot of them are trying to relive their wedding or just doing something. Or grooms who get involved. We call them groomthras, like Mothra versus Godzilla, Bridezilla versus Groomthra. But the fucking grooms, they're the ones where I'm like, I wanted to stand, I was, like, as you can tell, like, even sober, the only thing I do is just scream when they're like, what's the worst Bridezilla story you have? The worst story I have is about a groom. And we call him Taliban Jim, which, okay, not that sensitive, but, I'm Muslim, you want to take it up with me and my mom, I'll fucking give you some attitude. But, Taliban Jim, his name is actually James, because I'm not censoring this, fuck you, bitch. From the start, he was trouble. And, like, I was too young. Now, as an adult, if I got into this situation, now that I'm older, even though I don't like walking away from weddings, because, I'm walking away from money. And, actually, I will say first, this was a Caucasian wedding. This is a white wedding. And white brides, y'all not that creative. Admittedly, because I am Muslim, because I am Turkish, I often, and I am Native American as well, despite how white my hands are. I was cursed by a witch when I was a child. I don't know why I'm like this, but I do get a lot of more ethnic weddings, as they would be. But the white weddings are always like, make me natural, make me pretty, make me look like, make me look dewy, make me soft. Don't do a lot of makeup and make it natural. Like, that sounds really derogatory. Fuck all of you. You have such basic makeup, and it's so boring, whereas you get, like, you get a Desi bride, or you get a Turkish bride, and they're like, I want gold eyeshadow up to my fucking hairline. And even then, they'll be like, Mommy, look at me, how do I look? And then they'll just be like, it's too natural, That's the kind of wedding I want. I swear, I'm gonna marry a cat, just have gold eyeshadow and a huge, disgusting, ruffly dress. I don't even want to get married. Y'all need to step your game up, none of this natural bullshit. But, I do generally find white weddings are a little more boring, and, I totally forgot where I was going with this. But, like, that focus on the natural and the demure, and that is just, like, it's not as fun. I hate doing your weddings. And I've genuinely ADHD brain totally forgot where I'm going with this, and I'm too lazy to stop and back up. But, I also have developed a knot somewhere along the line. Oh no! Who knew the ruffles were this fucking awful? But, with the weddings, one of the things actually, because of, like, how we do the weddings, I think this is where I was going, is that a lot of weddings, I don't allow anyone else into the meeting. Because often, like, my first time meeting brides, it's a couple weeks, maybe a couple months before the wedding. Whenever you call me, I'll show up and we'll do a test run. So it's not like trying to slap makeup on your wedding day. I usually have 1 to 3 meetings where I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna get to know you, see if you're comfortable with me, see if you'd prefer someone else, I'm gonna do some test makeups, maybe do some pink eyeshadow, maybe some purple eyeshadow, see if you're more comfortable with this, do you not like having your face touched, do you want to do, X, Y, Z, so then on the day I can show up and just bang out a whole fucking face of makeup. And I don't let anyone show up, because like, when you watch, like, Say Yes to the Dress, everyone shows up and mom's got her fucking opinion, and your best friend's got her fucking opinion, you got that one skinny friend who doesn't want you to look better than her because you're 50 pounds heavier and she's a bitch. Like, full offense to skinny people, I've encountered that so many times. you know, she's a huge bitch and nasty, and then she's like, why do you have a partner and I don't? Like, maybe because you're rude to everybody? But, you know, like, it's a whole thing, and this, so I always am like, you know what, I want you to show up, I want you to do your makeup, I want you to tell me what you want. I don't care what your mom wants, I don't care what the fashion is. If you want gold eyeshadow up to your fucking eyebrows, I want you to have gold eyeshadow up to your fucking eyebrows. We're gonna go with what you want, it's your wedding, I don't care, that's, you're the only bitch in this fucking wedding that I trust. And now we're gonna line this up at the bottom and see if it... Yeah, see, like, this is the kind of fabric you get, like, on a lot of tops. It's sort of the roughly look, and then we're gonna tie it off, because it fits, and then turn it the right side out, and burp. Hopefully the camera didn't pick that up. Anyways, but, like I was saying with brides, I really want them to just, like, tell me what you want. Not what you think looks good, not what... 70 years down the road you're gonna think is good, like, like, that's the thing with me, especially with brides, because they're like, well, I want to look classy and good on my wedding day, and I want this, and, like, brides in the 80s thought they looked fucking awesome, and people these days think they look like goofs. Like, I want you to look good on your wedding, even if 50 years from now you look back and cringe and be like, oh, fuck. I want you to fucking enjoy that, like, in the moment. Who cares 50 years down the road? I mean, I look at what I look like in high school, and I'm like, oh, girl, cybergoth, really? But at the same time, like, you know what? I respect that bitch. So I'm trying to turn this the right side out, but I'm just getting, like, a weird, awful little sort of nubby situation. But, this normally goes better, but I've had, like, an entire case of cider and half a bottle of wine, and I still have 4 ciders and an entire other bottle of wine to go through. And, but anyways, fuck you, fuck you, Chuck. If you couldn't hear that, Ron is making fun of me. Go, show up in the comments and tell him he looks funny. But anyways, he's still out with the potatoes. He's, like, really enjoying the night air. Apparently the skunk is back at the park. He's having fun watching it walk around the sign. But, anyways, yeah, like, I'm totally... Oh, so, like, with the makeup thing, like, the brides, I always want you to be alone with me, because I want you to, like, experience the you of it, I don't care what your husband wants, I don't care what your mom wants, I want to know what Jessica wants, you, Jessica, let's see, I don't know why I picked Jessica, but, I want to see what you want. Maybe, maybe we'll have 2 meetings, maybe you'll do one where you want what you want, and then we'll take opinions from the peanut gallery, but I really don't want the peanut gallery first time around. I don't like them, they're useless. I've seen enough moms cry on Say Yes to the Dress to make their daughters feel shitty. I'm not about that life. Some makeup artists maybe are, I've never met them, I hope there's not people like that out there, but, maybe. I'm sorry, I'm usually much more cohesive telling stories, but again... booze. But like I was saying, the worst groom I ever had was, Taliban Jim. I think I said that earlier. Again, take it up with my fucking mom, I came out of a Muslim vagina. If she wants to have an issue with it, that's her problem. But anyways, Taliban Jim was very, very white. His name was James, obviously. He would not let his wife, or fiance, I guess, go anywhere on her own. She couldn't have people over, like, I really was uncomfortable. But again, I was younger, this was, like, one of my first jobs, I wanted to make a good impression, I needed the money, I lived in downtown Vancouver, my rent was $1,600 a month, and that was not including utilities. And my night job taking... phone calls for $2.99 a minute was not covering the bills, if you know what I mean. But yeah, ask me about that sometime. I've had some interesting jobs, but so this poor girl, I guess since I used his real name, I can use her name. Her name's Mira. She was honestly so beautiful, and this was actually done before I realized I was bisexual. But looking back on it, like, damn bitch, I'm so gay. She was so beautiful. She was, you know, she's a bit younger than him. She was really shy. She was really sweet. It was like a whole situation. Like, you know, you just walk into it and you feel funky. Like, not necessarily bad, but just off. Like, I don't think he'd ever hit her, but yet is the operative term there. Like, I don't think he'd hit her yet. He was not pleasant. You know, that's kind of why we called him Taliban Jim. Again, he was, you know, not saying that speaks for all Islam, because it definitely doesn't, but, like, he was a certain kind of guy. And poor Mira could not do anything alone. In fact, this was actually, like, when I was younger, I was really sort of shy and reserved, and I still kind of am. But, I was exceptionally reserved, and Taliban Jim was the first guy who ever made me come out of my shell and straight up go, fuck you. Like, beforehand, especially because I grew up in a situation, I sort of learned to worm my way out, you know? We'll compliment, we'll flatter, we'll be nice. Taliban Jim was the first time where I turned around and straight up was like, no, fuck you, buddy. Like, I don't even remember what it was, but, like, you know, he wouldn't leave her alone. He wouldn't let her have anything. He's definitely the kind of guy who goes through text messages and, like, looks for an excuse to be shitty. And I remember when I came over to her house and we were gonna do a makeup thing, because I was gonna have two things with her, because she was gonna have two different makeups. So basically, because part of her family could come into town one point a year, they were gonna do, like, the courthouse wedding with her family, and I'd just do, like, a basic look. By the way, I'm just gonna seal this and gonna do a little stitch in here. And, but, so she was, you know, she was having the courthouse wedding the first time, and then they were gonna have a big wedding the second time around, when I think it was his family, because it's been over a decade. His family was gonna come out and be like, oh, hey, you know, this is our big family wedding. But when I sort of came in and set up, and then he came down and sat at the table with us, and I'm sort of like, you know, buddy, you gotta fuck off. This is our time, this is girl time, we're gonna do our makeup, in my case as well, because before I was a makeup artist, I don't think I've ever mentioned this to any of you, but I was a hairdresser. In fact, I completed a hairdressing degree or certificate. And, I specialized in dyeing my hair. So if you look at my old pictures, there's a reason why I always have, like, janky hair. I was always testing new stuff on myself. And, like, yeah. You know, it's one of those things, like, I never wear makeup and I always look like a gargoyle, but, like, I'm a professional makeup artist. Believe me. But anyways, so, like, this, you know, he came in, and, like, he literally just plunked down at the other end of the table. Like, if we're sitting at one end, you know, having sort of, you know, we're having tea and we're having a chat, and I was starting to look through pictures, because I always ask, like, bring pictures, tell me what, you know, bring pictures of yourself all done up, show me your Insta, show me what you want, show me your Pinterest board full of ideal makeups, I want to know what's up. And he just was like, oh, you know, oh, I'm just gonna be here for this. I'm like, nah, bud, nobody can be here for this. And he's like, no, I'm gonna be here for this. And I'm like, nah, bud, you're not gonna be here for this, fuck off. And he just kept insisting he had to be there, and he had to be there, till finally, I don't know what it was, I guess, like, maybe he reminded me of my adoptive dad, and, like, don't get me wrong, I love my adoptive dad, but, like, especially when I lived at home, we were not friends. He's the A-type, you know, Wolf of Wall Street, Patrick Bateman, but without the psychosis personality. He's very Donald Trump, but less racist. You know, that kind of personality, and immediately I'm just like, fuck you, buddy! And I remember actually picking this guy up out of his chair and be like, no, this is a girls' meeting. This is makeup. And this guy fought me every step of the way, because, you know, I'm 4'10", and, like, yeah, okay, I'm built like a fucking dump truck. But this guy's gotta be, you know, this guy's, like, farm boy, cowboy fucking beef. And he actually physically tried to stop me from removing him. And I don't know what it was. Like I said, it was that first moment where I finally, instead of being like, oh, well, maybe we'll committee this, I was just like, no, fuck you, bitch! And removed him from the premises. And I actually removed him, and I remember turning around after I'd finally managed to just, like, shove him out of the house, being like, no, it's fucking girls' time, you ugly cunt. And I turn around, and his girl Mira's looking at me like, you know, like, are you okay? Like, what's up? And, you know, like, he never leaves, you know, what's the problem? So I kind of played it off like, oh, sorry, you know, it's like, you know, girl time, whatever, girly stuff, because, you know, I'm a makeup artist. That's literally, unfortunately, due to heavy gendering and, you know, all that, it's a girl thing. But after that, because I had a couple more meetings with her, he fucking hated me. He went out of his way to be rude, to be creepy, just to get in my face all the time. And, like, all the way up to the wedding, you know, about 6 weeks before the wedding, he was calling me, he was texting me, he's been a fucking shithead. Every time I showed up at her house, because again, I was doing, you know, more than one makeup look, he was just such a fucking bitch. And he just was, like, I can't even explain to you everything he did, because I just want to sit there like, fuck you, Jimothy! And he just, you know, what? Chug the rest of that one. Open another one, because fuck you, bitch! Like, he just makes me so irrationally angry. It's unbelievable. Like, I can't even list all this stuff. You know, again, like, and over the course of talking to her, because again, you know, when I do these appointments, they're often like 4 to 6 hour increments. I'll come in, and you can literally take every single piece of my makeup kit and put it on your face. We will try all 62 lipsticks. We will try every palette. You know what? You can stick your fingers on all of them. I sanitize them after every meeting. I sanitize them every time someone touches them. Go fucking hog wild. If you want to touch all the metallics, go for it. I want you to do it. You know, I feel like John Mulaney in that thing. I want you to do it. Go ahead. Look at the hospital. I dare you. You know, like, I dare you to touch all my fucking makeup. Like, I want you to. And this fucking, we had some foamies, but like this fucking asshat would just get into it and be rude and like try and tell her, oh no, you don't want to wear this, because like she wanted a really vibrant look, you know, because this was kind of the start of the insta makeups. She wanted a really bright colored makeup for her wedding, which I thought was cool. I think it was like, it was a really bright fuchsia eye with a really nude lip and then like big contour in that, because she was, you know, she was a pretty bright girl. And he just kept being like, oh no, I don't want that. Oh no, I want this. And you can tell, like, he picked her wedding dress. It was Jim's wedding. It wasn't Mira's wedding. And he just fucking made me so mad. And like, I don't know, like, this is, like, I've literally been going on for, like, 22 minutes about this guy. And I haven't even gotten to the end of the story. That's how mad he fucking makes me. But, amazingly, about 6 weeks before the wedding, I got a call from Mira. Hey, I'm calling off the wedding. And while I don't, you know, while I know you're not going to give the deposit back, could I contract you to do my makeup for a party I'm having? Buck, yes, bitch, you can! Like, this, like I say, he was just such a controlling creep. And, you know, what's even funnier is actually, in 2021, hoping that, you know, we're not still in quarantine or anything, I will be doing Mira's second wedding, because we stayed friends after this. And I will be doing her second wedding to a much, much lovelier man who's absolutely, you know, such a sweetheart and such a lovely guy. You know, I'm so much happier she ended up with this guy. And, yeah, just, like, he's, you know, I don't know. You know, like, she met him through a thing we were doing. It was a, oh, come on, bitch. English words. Oh, got a little hole. Oh, well. It was a, I can't remember. English words for lacrosse, there we go. It's a lacrosse event. Yeah, she and I do that. Believe it or not, despite my indoorsy attitude, I'm actually quite sporty. I play rugby, hockey, and lacrosse, go figure, but, I'm trying to figure, should I do the ruffle first, or do the sewing it onto the bottom first? You know what? Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sew it onto the bottom. Yeah, keep it like that. And then I'm gonna turn it inside out and put the lining in, see if that works out. If not, we're gonna cry a little and then regroup. But anyways, we're still going. Another Bridezilla story, one that is actually a bride. This one actually is probably more surprising to me just because of how everyone else acted. Because, like, Taliban Jim, you know, his mother thinks he can do no wrong. Because I did meet her in an unrelated event, because I do a lot of garden parties. And it turns out his mother is one of them, and, well, you know, the apple don't fall far from the tree, and in this case, well, the turd don't fall far from the asshole. So, she's a lovely woman, you know. I don't wish many issues on people, but damn if she could get hit by a car, and I was there to see it. Can't say I wouldn't. You know, she's the UPS of people. She's a nasty bitch. But anyways, let's see if we can stick this on the bottom. Just roll those edges in a little. Believe it or not, this actually usually does work, because I'm just sewing it on the bottom and then I'm going to turn it inside out. And I should probably move that layer before I pin it in there by accident. Anyways, God. Would you believe that sober me can take a picture of an outfit and turn it into a dress, but drunk me can't even make a fucking verse? This is why my tits are big. I got no fucking brains. Anyways, like I was saying, his mother's a vile woman. I hope she has horrible things happen to her. But, okay, anyways, where was I going? Oh, Bridezilla. Okay, so this Bridezilla, this other girl, she's a Karen in the making. If I remember correctly, well, I guess in her case I can't use her name. I don't know. I don't know. You know, like, no one's gonna see this, but at the same time, like, again, with my luck. But, so Karen is having a wedding, and she's 22. And, like, you know, I'm not one to automatically be like, oh, you're too young to get married. Like, you know, I'm not the arbiter of weddings. You know, when I was 19, I was in a relationship that had lasted from my teens into my mid-20s. It lasted a decade, you know, and it only broke up because my partner ended up in a situation, like, he ended up inheriting his kids, well, correctly, his younger brothers from his mom, who had passed away, sadly from ALS, and, like, I hate to admit, it was around the time of the ALS challenge, and God, was I bitter about that. But, you know, shout out to Maria Avia. She's, like, total sweetheart. Like, I really wish she'd been able to be my mother-in-law. She was genuinely one of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my life. But, you know, she passed away around that time, and it was a lot, and, like, I really don't know. I really don't know how I'm gonna manage this. Because I know I have to sew this part before I sew the lining, because otherwise I'm never gonna be able to get in there. But anyways, so I like I said, I had a relationship that lasted a decade. The only reason we didn't get married was honestly because we didn't have the money to go through with all that shit. So, you know, who am I to say who can get married at young? But there's some people who shouldn't get married young. I guess, like, I had a friend, you know, she hooked up with a guy who was 10 years older than her when she was in her 20s, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And there's another friend of mine who married a guy who was, like, 5 years older than her, and I'm like, bitch, he's a pedophile. I don't care if you're 30, why are you with him? You know, like, it depends on the person. And, you know, and so this bride of mine, she was, you know, in her early 20s, barely out of her teens, getting married. And she shouldn't have been getting married. Like, I actually don't know why she was getting married. I'm guessing one, not, to be, like, totally sexist, women always push for marriage, but I think she was pushing for it because of how her groom acted when this whole thing went down. But, even to this day, even versus Taliban Gym, I never threatened to walk out. But I remember this girl got so bad, and, the first meeting I met her, she was okay. I just kind of thought, like, okay, you're a snotty rich brat, whatever, like, this is Vancouver, there's a million snotty rich brats. And I never really thought anything of it. And then the day of her wedding, she was such a bitch, and just so rude, and so over the top to everyone involved. Like, I don't even remember what the specific moment was, but she just struck me as the goddamn worst bitch I've ever met. And, like, I know myself, so that's quite a title. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I'm fucking awful at the best times. Hell, I've encountered Big's fucking, poo whispers. This biggest bitch on earth goes to his fucking ass. But, like, this girl was just vile. She was screaming at people. She was being rude. She was just like, this me. This whole fucking day was about her. And I don't even remember what it was exactly, but there was this moment where she was, I was trying to do her makeup, and she was being just bratty. And, again, I don't really like to be like this because, I'm the first to be like, don't type all the youth the same, but she was, even though I am a millennial, she was being a fucking entitled millennial. And she just was being awful. And this is the only time I've ever done this. This is the only job I've ever done where I actually put my makeup brushes down halfway through doing her makeup and said, you haven't paid me yet. And with the way you're acting, I'm walking out of here. Like, I started packing up my makeup and was like, if you don't fucking behave, if you don't smarten your act up, if you don't start being more respectful, and again, like, I'm the last person to be like, be respectful, I was the kid who moved out of home at like 18, 19 and immediately went fucking wild. I still, like, I'm still pretty off the thing. I mean, my parents found out by accident that I'm not straight, and I've been lying to them my entire life, so I'm the last person to be like, fucking behave, be this way. But, like, she was just rude and demanding and awful and vile and just running her mouth, and I don't know what it was. Finally, I was just like, you know what, fuck you. Like, again, I didn't even walk out of the Taliban Gym job. I was willing to see that through. And this girl was just such a brat. I put down my makeup brushes and was like, if you don't fucking change your attitude right now, I'm leaving. And the thing is, I actually packed up all my makeup and got halfway down the driveway before she believed that I actually was serious. But what really got to me was after all this went down, I was sort of sitting, in the back and packing up my makeup, because eventually they did coax me back with quite a bit of makeup and quite a few, quite a bit of money, sorry, not makeup, and quite a few apologies. And after the wedding, between the wedding and the reception, because I was in a hotel room and I was allowed to have a meal and sort of hang out. Like, most places are pretty cool like that. And in this case as well, because the mother-in-law in question, she'd had her makeup done, that was included in the package, but she also had had a stroke. So while she had makeup on for a little while, I did stick around to take it off, like, free of charge, because she wanted the big fake lashes and the makeup, but part of her face had drooped and stayed that way because of the stroke. And I had said, like, okay, I'll take it off after a certain period of time so you can have your pictures done, and, you can have the wedding and have your big moment. Because, as much as I did rag on mother-in-laws earlier, like, I get it. Like, fair enough. She was a really nice lady. But, like I said, after this wedding, the groom, both of the groom's parents, both of the bride's parents, the bride's grandfather, and two of the people in the crowd, who I don't know, who were related to the bride somehow, came over and gave me a tip. I walked out of that wedding where originally, because I had the mother, the mother-in-law, 3 bridesmaids and the bride, I think it came out about $1,000 by the time it was done. So, like, expensive, but not absurd. And I walked out of there in tips. I had $4,700 because she was such a bitch. Like, why are you marrying her, boy? Because, you know, her boyfriend had to be the same age as her. But they knew she was such a bitch, and she caused so many problems. Quite literally, they paid me $4,700 as a tip for putting up with her bitch ass. Like, I wish I could remember more, but, you know, ADHD, no thoughts, brain empty. I've never remembered anything. But, like, she was rude and demanding and shitty. Like, boy, this is what you're spending the rest of your life on. Coming from somebody who lives in a desperate chase for pussy. Boy, that pussy ain't worth it. Like, God damn. You know, I wish my friend Megan was here because she could tell you a similar story. Like, because, you know, it's Vancouver. There's a ton of trust fund kids. And they're so awful. Like, don't get me wrong, again, they're the one paying my bills with this shit. But again, like, girl. You know, like, I used to think, like, I grew up, you know, I got adopted into a family that could have a house with a pool. I was not, you know, I was well off, like, straight up. My family was pretty good. I mean, money-wise. We're not getting into that. But, you know, every time I think I'm the brattiest, most overprivileged bitch I've ever met, along comes some fucking Linda Jr. to be like, oh my god, hold my bag, you fucking, you know, racial slur. Like, I can't imagine being that bratty, and I am bratty and self-centered and selfish and rude. You know, as much as you guys think I'm cool, like, I'm a fucking bitch. You know? I don't know where they get the gall to be like that. Like, oh my god. I don't know. Some of the fun ones, though, are I do themed weddings, which some of them I'm like, these are so cool. Like, you know, as much as I hate doing, like, a million press-out ears for the Lord of the Rings movies, you know, because they do the elf ears and, like, the elf stuff, I do kind of love them, because they're fun, and, like, I love people are having a good time at their wedding, because so many people are like, it's a big event, and it's, like, a wedding, and you're like, you know, even though, again, it pays my bills, I'm the first to be like, it's such an overpriced piece of garbage. Excuse me. Hope the camera didn't pick that one up, because I'm classy. But, you know, like, I love that some people having fun with it. Like I said, there's people who are putting, like, elf ears on and doing their own thing, and, like, being crazy, and I love those people. The only ones I didn't were, like, Game of Thrones, because, like, you do know what happens at all the weddings at Game of Thrones, right? Like, I did a red wedding themed wedding once. You know, like, sister, are you for real? Like, did you watch the show or read the books? I mean, I read the books, but I have to admit, even though it had Rory McCann, who I fucking love, and he's like Sasquatch, you like never see him in anything, and he was in the show as Sandor, my favorite character, I couldn't watch the show. Like, I don't know. Though I have to admit, I had a huge crush on Sophie Turner when I first saw her, but she's married to one of the Jonas Brothers now. I'm like, girl, I'm right here. Once again, I fall for someone way too tall for me. Which is so bad, because, like, that's a huge problem. That actually is a huge problem with me, though, in general, like, I swear. Because I'm meeting these brides, you know, like, they're happy to be married, they're so beautiful, like, I mean, I'm of the opinion that all women are beautiful, but these ladies, like, you see them on their wedding day, and they're so, you know, they're, like, so resplendent, and they're, like, so happy, generally, and, like, why did my dumb gay ass have to get me into a career where I see women that I absolutely cannot have? You dumb gay bitch. Anyways, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of other Bridezilla stories. Now that I'm like, let's think of Bridezilla stories, my brain's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But, one that I liked was a friend of mine. She's not a Bridezilla, but, her mother was a Motherzilla, I don't know what they're called. But, this actually was really funny, because we were trying to plan her wedding, and I was gonna, as a wedding present, instead of being paid, I was like, I'll do the makeup for your wedding, because, you know, we've been friends since we were, like, 16, 17 years old. And her mother was just, like, so clearly reliving her own wedding through this moment. It was so funny, I hate to admit, watching the progress for my friend being like, oh, I want a really brightly colored makeup, to, oh, we're doing this, to, oh, you know, this is the situation, just please don't answer the phone if my mother calls you. To finally her just being like, okay, would you be cool if we go to Vegas and we'll pay for your trip because I want you to do my makeup, and straight up, you will be the person who witnesses our wedding and we're getting married in Vegas because fuck my mom. And like, no joke, the last time my passport was valid, because it's been out for like ever, was I got flown to Vegas with my friend and her sister and her husband, and they got married in a Vegas chapel by an Elvis impersonator because they were so sick of her mom. Like, I never thought I would be part of the traditional, like, stereotypical elopement story, but damn girl, we did. Also, do not tell her under any circumstances, but I may have finger banged her sister outside the Bellagio. You know, but, yeah, we both really made out in Vegas that day. Yeah, sadly, after that, my passport expired, and, I haven't done any international weddings. So I actually have done that for a few friends, though not for strangers, but, you know, I've gone, quite a few places for y'all, so if I get a valid passport, let me know when your wedding is. I will absolutely fucking show up. But, yeah, so let's hope this is going through the right way, because so far, on the other side, it looks pretty good. Yeah, trying to just fold it, get that little ridge, sort of do this, and like, yeah, okay, it's not professional, but, you know, I'm drunk. And fuck you, Prince Charles. I heard that. And I genuinely do not know if the camera's picking him up, but he's making fun of me. But, and actually, Ron, yeah, you, Chuckles. So, like, I genuinely have no idea if the camera can hear you. If you can, I'm sorry. I will try and put this in later. But, he's a camera guy. And he normally does, like, camera stuff for movies, but he actually does a lot of weddings as well, so we actually work together a lot. You can get a package deal. You get me and Ron to show up and be fucking doorknobs. But, yeah, he does a lot of these, and he has a lot of stories like this, too. Yeah, you should start drinking. You should come tell these stories. Come on, Habibi. Come on. But anyways, yeah, it was just, like, it's a lot. I don't know. I'm trying to think, again, like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm, like, failing, but it's not a Bridezilla story, but one story that's really cute is from one of my friends, and, just she's my childhood best friend before I met my friend Jaren, who's, like, you know, my bestie, and, this is my friend Meals. That's not her actual name, it's just a nickname, but I did the makeup for her wedding, and, it was actually really cute. I remember I did her makeup as a wedding present, like this last one, and then I came to the wedding, and it was really cute. It was outdoor, it was, like, super beautiful, and I remember watching it and just kind of seeing, like, this is, you know, this is my oldest childhood friend, she's the first of my friends to get married, it's, like, a big deal, you know, she's just beautiful. Like, if you're on my Facebook, you should go find my makeup portfolio. She's the blonde girl with the sort of brown neutral shadows in my makeup school thing, because, like, oh my god, she's fucking gorgeous. You know, like, just damn bitch. But it was so cute because, you know, I was watching her and she was so, like, mesmerized by the fact that she was getting married. She actually forgot. When the priest was like, do you take this woman as your lawfully wedded wife? Her man sitting there like, hell yeah. And then the priest is like, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? And she was so busy staring at her husband, being like, that's my man. She totally didn't even hear the priest. And watching the priest kind of like poke her and be like, girl, you gotta say your vows. It was like so cute. You know, like, it's so her too. Like, she's just, you know, I don't talk to her much anymore. Actually, I was talking to her earlier today, but I normally don't talk to her a ton. And she's got a kid now, you know, she got her own life. We went our own ways, but I really do care about her. But, like, it was just so cute watching her standing there just staring at him with all this love, and then the priest elbowing her and being like, girl. You know? That's gonna be my dumbass, because, like, you know, I'm gonna marry the woman I love, because, you know, at this point it's probably gonna be a woman, and just her, you know, just staring at me and be like, this is my love of my life, and the priest being like, you gotta say I do, and be like, bitch. You know, I really wish I'd gotten it on camera, but I was just having a good time. You know, just being there. It was really sweet. But I realized doing that, I guess I'd have to come out to the rest of my friends. I don't know. I have an open door policy, but kind of still in here depending on what's going on. But actually, that's another fun one. I do a lot of, you know, LGBTQ weddings. And the amount of drag queens I've done weddings for who actually got married in drag was pretty fun. Like, a lot of them do a lot of their own makeup, so it's not always that I'm doing makeup. I may be on wig duty, but, you know, or I may just be going along, but, like, again, it's just so much fun. Like, you know, you never really know what you're gonna get. The funniest one was actually, I for years worked sort of out of this club, and I would occasionally do makeup for some really, you know, for some of the shows, or sort of do support and costuming, because, you know, as you can tell, I sew. But there's one where I did this one show, and these two queens would not stop fucking fighting over the Tina Turner wig. I actually got declared mistress of the Tina Turner wig. I was the wig keeper. And imagine my surprise when I hadn't seen anybody from there in like a year and a half, because I'd actually been spending a lot of time in Quebec, because, you know, it was when my partner and I were breaking up, and his mom was dying, and, you know, so I spent a lot of time in Quebec. I didn't spend much time here. And surprise, surprise, I get these two queens who'd been fighting over the Tina Turner wig while I was gone. They'd gotten together and actually gotten married, which was pretty fun. But yeah, it was kind of a surprise when I get a call from one of them, and sort of like, oh, we want you to do makeup, you know, can you show up? And I say, sure, and I show up, and oh, surprise, I'm getting married. And I'm like, boy, why didn't you fucking tell me? But yeah, it was pretty funny. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like rambling now. Don't even have like a story planned. I got my other video uploading in the background. What are we at? 42% uploaded, and I started uploading it like an hour ago. Motherfucker, and that's only 15 minutes. This one is like 48. I'm gonna fucking die. Anyways, yeah, I'm so not finishing this purse tonight, but I don't know, figure you just like to hear about it. And love this when you do a whole knot, and then the whole other fucking side doesn't even knot. Damn. Yeah, hate furries. Don't you hate it when something doesn't knot? Oh my god, that was so bad. Oh, I'm banned from the convention. Actually, that's another one I used to do. I realized I don't know if I've ever talked about that before. But before conventions got like super mainstream and insanely expensive, I actually used to do a lot of costumes and makeup for conventions. And I actually still make money from doing some costumes for that. But Oh my god. But, you know, now they're so expensive. Like, nobody can do it. Like, I actually once... I wish I knew where the photos for this were. They're in my portfolio somewhere, but my portfolio is, like, in the trunk of my car a million miles away. In the parking lot, probably, but I'm way too lazy to go down there at this time of night. The skunk might be in the parking lot again. But, I used to do that, and I did an entire, like, head-to-toe, full-feathered, beautiful version of Tooth Fairy from the Guardians, not the Guardians of the Galaxy, fucking, you know the one I'm talking about, the Guardians of whatever. It's got like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, who almost turned me into a furry. Embarrassing fact of the day. Well, I mean, like, you know, he's what, 6 feet tall, green eyes, buck teeth, looking kind of doofy, kind of hairy. You know, he's basically Matthew Lewis, but with bunny ears. So, you know, because I got bad taste. Anyways, yeah, that one. I think it is just called The Guardians. It's like with Jack Frost and everything. But, yeah, the Tooth Fairy from that one, I actually did a full costume for that for a friend of mine a few years ago, and she went to a convention down in the States with it, and I was, like, super proud. It's actually... It generates a surprising amount of work, considering it's just, like, word of mouth. And, you know, people emailing me and be like, hey, can you send us prosthetics for this? But, you know, made the entire suit by hand. I had to stitch every fucking turkey feather on myself. Like, girl, you better be glad I love you, because I definitely gave myself carpal tunnel that day. But, I don't know how interesting the view is for you, but I really do think you're just here for my weird rambling stories at this point. But I really did not think this was gonna take this long, but I realize I keep stopping to just, like, talk because my brain can't do two things at once. But I don't know. But yeah, it was... I don't know. You know, it's funny, I have to admit, like, back to the bridal thing. Working in bridal for as long as I have... I've kind of had the opposite. Like, I notice a lot of people I know get married and then immediately want to start, like, some kind of bridal thing because I guess, like, that's what they want. You know, they want to suddenly be a bridal consultant. But the more I see how bridal stuff works out, the more I just want to, like, elope. I want a courthouse wedding. You know? The only thing I would ever do is hand make my own wedding dress, but it's gonna be, like, one of the dresses from Crimson Peak, but all in black or some shit. Because I'm an overdramatic bitch, we'll never let that go. But, I don't know. Like I said, you know, like, most bridezillas are just stressed out bitches. They honestly aren't as bad as they make themselves out to be, but, I don't know. Actually, one thing I have to admit, though, if you're ever gonna be a bride, don't bring your fucking kids along if you have kids. Like, the amount of kids who touch my stuff and cause problems and get into things, but then parents, you know, they'll like slam one of my palettes and break all the eyeshadows in them, and then, or like dust it, then they'll just be like, oh, well, we don't really want to replace that. Like, well, your kid just destroyed $200 worth of product. Like, fucking, I'm adding that to the bill whether you like it or not. You know, like... To be fully parent-phobic, you'll need to fucking ban your kids from weddings. They're the fucking worst. But, I don't know. They're actually my biggest problem with any, you know, any bridal situation. Kids are cute when they're flower kids, but coming from somebody's head, you know, of hair and makeup on them. Because, like, normally it's just like, oh, we're going to put some pink eyeshadow because, you know, little kid wants some pink eyeshadow because she wants to feel grown up. Which, yeah, okay, I was the same at that age. But then they want to be like, oh, well, we want you to do this complicated hairstyle on a 6-year-old. Like, you do realize they're going to wiggle and move their head the whole time and it's going to come out. Especially because, like... You know, I can't just do the makeup 3 minutes, bang, you're done. It's like, I have to do them first because they need the most time, so then I can compensate, like, oh, well, you know, the bride gets her own time, and I never do her first, just because in case I want to get any early morning sillies out, I want to do one of the bridesmaids or something, you know, just in case, and then usually I do the bride. I do the bride usually third. So I get the early morning sillies out, get the bride a chance to, you know, get everything else organized, and then get her done, and then get everyone else done. But, like, the fucking, you know, when they have little kids, it's a whole other level of hellish. Because now we got so much time to compensate for, and they wiggle, and as well behaved as you think your kid is, they're not as well behaved as you think they are. You know, kids are like mothers. They're never as well behaved as you'd like them to be, and they always get under foot in important situations. And they always scream and shriek when you least expect it. But that might just be me. But, I don't know. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm such a lovely person. But, yeah. This is the thing, I really need you guys on live to ask me, like, questions, because the second I'm like, try and think of a subject, my brain is like, don't. And I'm sure you have not made it this far in the video, but... oh well. You know what? I'm just gonna sign off at this point. You guys are gonna have to give me another one of these so I can finish the purse and tell y'all some weird stories. And I will definitely post pictures of the purse once I'm done. But yeah, let's call it a night until further notice. And yeah.